The world is changing so quickly, and the acceleration of AI, quantum computing, robotics, all kinds of things. It's really difficult to be a futurist and even to guess what the world will look like in a decade. We're going through radical change, and the idea of the guy from that wrote Future Shock, I can't think of his name now, but he always said that, in this day and age, really what we have to be able to do, and it has to do with your grow and learn, is we have to be able to learn, accelerated learning, learn quickly, and then we have to be able to unlearn, to be able to be adaptable and to shed things that no longer serve us because they're, not relevant anymore as maybe it's a technological thing or whatever's happened. So we have to be able to recognize and unlearn things that are habits or knowledge we've had in the past, and then relearn and learn really fast. So I think that is going to, that loop will be accelerating, and we have to be comfortable with being able to learn what we need to learn and what we need to discharge.
I'm speaking to John Cousins, founder and CEO of MBA ASAP.com. It's a platform for mini MBAs, platform that offers accessible courses in smaller chunks, delivered very easily for the people to digest, specifically focusing on corporate finance, accounting, and negotiations, skills that are very needed by any entrepreneur, but not so accessible in the current form of MBA. We also talked about the future of work and how AI will require a different form of business education and will also require continuous learning. Check out MBAASAP.com and enjoy this conversation. Do your participants in the courses have the opportunity to ask questions, to see you live? Maybe do you also organize live sessions? How do they interact with you when they need feedback?
Well, and that's a great question, Serena. I started out doing them all. They're just sort of one way, unidirectional. I'm the guy teaching, and they get the material, and they can ask me questions via text and things like that. And I do get some questions, and when I get questions, I also put them in as like frequently asked questions, or maybe make another video because I see that there was a part that wasn't so clear, and so I try to address it in those ways. But what I did a few years ago started because I realized that just this one-way communication wasn't that great. And also, if the different students could get together and speak amongst themselves, that could be very powerful. And so these community platforms were starting to come up. And so I looked into those, and I started an MBA ASAP community where everybody joins up. Each month I have a different topic. Each week I have a Zoom session where we talk about the things we're doing or anything else. And even during anytime they can communicate with me, and I'll communicate back. And so we go through all the different subjects on an annual calendar. And each week we have two different Zoom meetings. And so I found that, and they get to talk amongst themselves too. And that's a very powerful thing. Instead of being all these isolated students all over the world, suddenly they can communicate amongst themselves. And it's I found, they feel supported. And when they have questions or like, I'm trying to get a new job, or I just everybody can chime in and support. I've been there. I understand what you're going through. Oh, and they can network too with each other. And so that's been really a powerful tool. So yeah, that's a great question. That again, that came out kind of organically once I had the platform, with the videos and books going out in one direction. Then I wanted to have a more interactive, and not just interacting with me, but interacting with the whole group. And I found that it's been incredibly powerful, and lots of different stories of people that a woman was in the Philippines, and she really was trying to get and then through this community gained the confidence, like you said, you gain this confidence in yourself and what you can do. And then she went to Arizona State University in the U.S. and got her MBA, and so stories like that where people have, and there's lots of stories like that, people have used the community as a launching pad and a support mechanism and a way to gain confidence and even ask their questions. And actually now on my platform, I'm starting to add you can buy the course, but then you can also upgrade and have an hour session or half-hour session with me where I'll go through, personally and talk about that. One of the reasons I hadn't done that in the past is because it doesn't scale, and trying to scale a business, if you have everything automated, then it can scale radically. But once you start to introduce things that are one-on-one, they're very valuable, but I can only be in one place at one time. So, that was one of the reasons I was kind of reluctant to do it, but I see that it's very helpful. And one guy that I really like, the guy that started Y Combinator, he had said, I'll think of his name, Paul, I can't think of his name, but he said, you should always do something that doesn't scale. And I always think of that, not everything has to scale. Some things are valuable, important, that don't scale. So,
Mm-hmm.
from a business standpoint, trying to balance those kind of things so you can grow a business.
Mm-hmm. I have a similar platform with similar methodology behind, but it's not focused on business. It's focused on mindset. So with courses, but in addition, I've actually brought in experts that are, some of them are psychologists, some of them are Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine experts, shamans, anybody that can basically help you with your mind and soul. So it's a similar concept. I understand it quite well, but there's one very interesting aspect here. Years ago, let's say 4 years ago, with a few of these experts that I collaborated with, we organized a retreat, and the personal interaction was, quite a different experience as opposed to these meetings that we did weekly. So, and thinking back on my MBA, the what you pay for is actually the network, as you said. It's the network that people benefit from apart from the knowledge. How do you see this developing in the future now that it's although people still like to meet in person, it's getting increasingly digitized and online, and it's like there's no getting away from it, and then people are less and less willing to go to an MBA because the knowledge quickly becomes obsolete now with AI and with everything. So, what is your view on the future of your platform, the MBA study in general? Where are we going in terms of knowledge, of
Oh, that
absorption of knowledge?
that's a great question. The world is changing so quickly, and the acceleration of AI, quantum computing, robotics, all kinds of things. It's really difficult to be a futurist and even to guess what the world will look like in a decade. We're going through radical change, and the idea of the guy from that wrote Future Shock, I can't think of his name now, but he always said that in this day and age, really what we have to be able to do, and it has to do with your grow and learn, is we have to be able to learn, accelerated learning, learn quickly, and then we have to be able to unlearn, to be able to be adaptable and to shed things that no longer serve us because they're, not relevant anymore as maybe it's a technological thing or whatever's happened. So we have to be able to recognize and unlearn things that are habits or knowledge we've had in the past, and then relearn and learn really fast. So I think that is going to, that loop will be accelerating, and we have to be comfortable with being able to learn what we need to learn and what we need to discharge. Because like Darwin said, it's not the strongest or the smartest that survive. It's the most adaptable, and we have to be adaptable creatures, especially in this day and age when things are just going so fast. Every time we think, oh, okay, now we're going to level off and we're going to have to learn this new way of doing things, it's not the case. We're still accelerating, at exponential rates. So That's one thing I've been trying to do too with the number side of business. Teaching that first is I think that that is sort of more evergreen. I don't think that the numbers aren't going to change. You're going to have revenue, you're going to have expenses, and you're going to have some profit, and those kind of things. Accounting and those ideas are going to, I think, stay the same. That's another. That's another. The whole idea behind this is. Do you predict where the future is going to go, which is getting very difficult to do, and what's going to change? Or do you try to figure out what's going to stay the same and learn what's going to stay the same? And then you're going to have those skill sets that no matter what the change happens, you have these fundamentals that are going to be a constant. And I think that's really important. Warren Buffett, he was traveling with somebody, Morgan Housel, who wrote the great book, Psychology of Money. And they were together, and Morgan was saying, I just don't know, things are changing so fast. What's going on? And Warren Buffett, in his sort of, very calm and stable way, said, what was the best-selling candy bar in the 1940s? And no, a Snickers. You know what the best-selling candy bar is today? What? Snickers. So he was, and he said the same thing about, and he's an investor in Coca-Cola. These things that stay the same, not trying to guess what are the convergent trends that are going to come together and what's that going to look like, and trying to bet on one out of 1,000 different futures that may happen, but to try to figure out what's going to stay the same, learn that, and then we can adapt to all the other things that are changing. So that's another reason why I stay with these fundamentals and the number side of business, because I think, the discounted cash flows, all those kind of formulas, those things are going to relatively stay the same, I think, and to be able to understand them and know how to value things based on what your future predictions are of the cash flows, and understand accounting and things are super important. And then the basics of leadership, management, marketing, strategy, those kind of things aren't going to change that much. The tools that we use and the mechanisms we use to deploy those ideas are going to change radically, but those ideas, I think, will remain relatively constant. And so knowing those are a good bet of something you can learn and continue to, add to the nuances of your learning, but you won't have to like jettison that stuff and learn something radically new in those areas. So yeah, that's my idea about where that's going to go. How we're going to teach. I've actually have a course on negotiation that's based on an AI platform where it's an avatar of me, and we go through these different subjects, and depending on what the responses are from the students, I change what I'm saying to them, and we do these scenarios. It's kind of like case studies, scenarios of
Quite interesting.
negotiation.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's really cool. And I couldn't have made this course even 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it allows everybody to learn on their own personal way. So it's almost like a personal interaction, but it is all artificial intelligence generated from all of my materials on negotiation, and it's directed for, yeah, as they progress. There may be something that they say that triggers that they didn't really understand one concept, and then it'll go back and go over that concept and things until they actually know everything, and they can polish it up. And I'm going for a job interview and I want to try to get a raise or something like that, and you can role play those situations until you feel like you've gone through a number of different scenarios. So when you go into the situation, you feel prepared. So that's a new way of teaching. And so there'll be things like that. But and as they come up, I've never been one, and maybe it's my technical background, but I've never been one that's been disoriented by technological advances and change. I know a lot of people like, oh my God, smartphones and this and that, and what's this? And it's always, to me, it's like, oh, thank goodness, finally, this thing that makes whatever it is easier or makes more sense, and I can do it now, and I could never do it before. I use like Journey and these other illustration tools to make illustrations for books, and I'll even use like ChatGPT or something to create a good prompt to make the illustration, and then it makes an illustration for me, and I can pick between different ones and pick the one I like and then put that into a book. And so these kind of tools, it's like, wow, I would have had to pay an illustrator, thousands of dollars to do that. And now I can just do it for, a $10 a month subscription or something. It's like these are power tools that really enable us to do more of what we want to do faster, and maybe in many cases we just couldn't do it before, and now we can. And so I'm always really embracing the technology and leaning into it because it seems to make my life easier and better and just more satisfying, and so um, that's kind of my personal way that I engage with the technologies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an overall experience. Again, looking back at my MBA, it's not simply learning because you learn from the people around you, from the environment, from the whole setup. It's an overall experience as a whole where you're placed somewhere else and so on. So in this case, you're creating an experience on its own. The people that are that you're meeting live, and also you can also say this AI avatar, or what do they call them? The AI. It's not a. It has a different name now.
A,
Agent.
a, a
Agent.
chat, yeah, an agent, yeah, a
An
chat
agent. Yeah.
bot,
Yeah.
yeah, an agent,
Yeah.
AI agents, yeah.
Yeah. So this AI agent is yet another aspect of this overall experience. Um, Fantastic. So, what else would you like to share that I haven't asked you? I mean, clearly you can share a lot of things, but something that we haven't covered this in this conversation.
Oh, thanks. I'd like to go and revisit your what you did with having a retreat. I think that's a great idea, and that must have been really something. I've been thinking about doing something like that, and I right now I've had over 40,000 students in 168 countries,
Wow.
and all over the world. I mean, and that just blows my mind. I mean, in places like the Maldives and Madagascar, and all little places that I wouldn't think that Borneo. Places I wouldn't think that people would be that interested in or in business education, but all over the world, I understand that people are aspirational. We want to have better lives for ourselves and our families and everything else. We want to create a legendary life. We want to enhance our destiny, and this can be an inflection point to put us on a little bit different path that can empower us more and enable us to do the things that we really would love to do in life. And so that's very exciting to me. I've been thinking about, I think about uh, like pop music bands or something that they go all over the world, like the Rolling Stones or whatever, all these different bands, and they'll have a concert in Argentina, and then they're off to, the United States, and then off to Europe, and then off to maybe in Africa somewhere, the Middle East. And since I've been in all these countries, I think it would be really fun at some point to do like a world tour and,
Mhm.
have little retreats or even meetings in
Mhm.
50 countries and just take a plane around and go do that and use sort of the tour ideas that have been developed by pop music stars,
Yeah.
to go around and just meet with a bunch of people because there's nothing at the end of the day. I agree with you that there's nothing like the absolute personal interaction. Really being with people is still the best. It's wonderful that we can do this, and things and engage with people that could be all over the world. We don't have to worry about what's the interest level of people in our little tiny geographic area. It could be the long tail kind of thing of all the people. There may be just one or two people in all these different areas, but if you add them all up, it adds up
Mhm.
to a significant market, and we can engage with those people now in this way and reach people that couldn't be reached. I mean, if you're in a little town in India or a little town in Africa, and I have these experiences all the time, and you have an internet connection and a smartphone or a computer, whatever you have, you can start to watch these videos and have access to this kind of content. You don't have to go to a elite institution where there's gatekeepers in one part of the world. And, that can be an impediment, an obstacle for lots of people. So it's a great time to be doing this, and a great time to be alive, and a great time to share, and a great time to have people be able to access things in a much more level playing field,
Mhm.
democratized kind of way.
Yeah.
And so that's something that is really exciting to me, and I think that's what propels me to do these things. It's not. I don't feel like what I do is like takes a lot of discipline, and it's sort of like a push thing. Oh, I have to do this today, and I have to put. It's more of a pull kind of thing. Like, oh,
Mhm.
people like this. You're interested in that. I'll do more of that. And so, I try to follow that kind of magnetic pull of what, what customers want, basically, I guess is the way,
Yeah.
to think of it.
I mean, if I could add my 5 cents now to on the future outlook of what AI is going to bring, with the whole democratization um, of the workplace as well, the future of work. What are these people going to be doing when, it's evolving towards individual to individual transactions, and everyone's going to be essentially their own boss. They need to know how to manage their money, their time clearly, but their money as well. So, what you're teaching is an essential skill of the future. How you're gonna become your own economy manager rather than your boss, your corporation. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more, Zarina, that the old model was the paternalistic corporation. Like you'd go to work for a corporation, you'd stay there for 30 years and you'd go up the career ladder and they would take care of you. You'd get your health care through them. Everything would be, and at the end you'd retire and you'd have your retirement taken care of by that type of situation. And that model no longer really works. You're right. There's going to be a real hollowing out of corporations as AI takes over a lot of jobs. Anything that's repetitive in a job is totally, going to be taken over by some sort of automated, AI agent, and that's going to leave a lot of jobs out, and also the first few rungs on the traditional career path are going to be done by AI agents. It's already happened in the law profession. In the law profession, it used to be that you would come out of law school, you'd go to work for a law firm, and you'd be, just here's 5 piles of documents, go through them, highlight them, get them all prepared, and give the your summaries to the upper, guys that are going to go practice the law in the courtroom or in the boardroom or wherever it's going to be. All of that summarization and reading through all those things now, and that's where you get the training and how to read contracts and how to do this type of work. All that's being done now by AI agents, which is great for the partners. They can reduce all of that, employee cost, but it doesn't allow for that career path for people to develop from law school, develop their things, and then become a experienced expert lawyer. Same thing has happened in a lot of medical fields, radiology, reading x-rays and other imaging things, that's gone.
Mm.
That's not a path to take anymore because these AI image recognition tools can read the imaging, the x-rays or the MRIs, all those things, much faster and better than the most expert doctors. And they can do it without, a bathroom break or lunch or vacation, or they can do it 24/7. And so it makes a lot of sense. That's that whole in finance, OpEx versus CapEx. Is it an operating expense or is it going to be a capital expense? And the operating expense is, say, the doctors, and the capital expense is the AI agent. Well, if you can replace a $500,000 a year doctor with a $50 a month AI agent, it's a no-brainer. And so these things are happening. And so taking a traditional career path that used to be the least risky way, and entrepreneurship seemed to be the more risky path, now I think that has flipped on its head, and it's much more risky to be with a corporation. And suddenly there's going to be a giant layoff. Like John Deere, the tractor company, just laid off a bunch of people. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, of Meta, has said in the next 2 or 3 years, most of the coders are going to be automated AI, coders and developers. So all those people that with their computer skills are going to be looking for work.
Yeah.
If you know how to be an entrepreneur, if you know how to seize opportunity and develop it, I think that allows you to be much in a less risky situation to navigate the future world than if you're reliant on a company and as soon as they let you go, you're like, I gave them 5 years of my life or 10 years of my life. You're dejected on that and you don't know what to do next. I think that's a dangerous place to be.
Mm. And this is where I also see the complete transformation of MBA programs, because now it really doesn't pay off. I mean, it started not paying off already 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but now, what corporation is going to pay you this money now, straight out of MBA without having gone through the necessary experience of this these climbing roles that you're mentioning now that are going to be obsolete. So the whole structure of the MBA career path is also going to be disrupted.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Another career that they've been talking about is the consulting careers, and
Yeah.
that used to be a big path out of MBAs was into Bain and
Mm.
Boston Consulting Group and
Yeah.
McKinsey, these worldwide consulting firms. And now they're panicking. They're no longer as relevant because the type of strategic analysis and development that they would give to the C-level, the CEO and things, now can be done by just querying ChatGPT or something. And
That's
so
right.
a lot
Mm.
of these companies are putting those AI agent tools in place and not using those super expensive consultants anymore. So they're trying to scramble to see how do we remain relevant? How do we remain, you know, relevant? And so that's another career. You're right. That's changing very quickly, and that was a big pathway out of elite MBA programs for people. It was either like, investment banking or consulting or maybe brand management with a company like Procter and Gamble where you'd go and manage, a consumer brand. All those things now are radically changing. And so the MBA programs have to change. Yeah, even with the case study, I bet you could get a PDF of the case, upload it to like ChatGPT and say, write me an expert analysis of how to do this. And it would probably come up with an incredible, way of doing that. So going through that intellectual exercise is really important to gain those thinking skills. But the end product now is
That's
available
right.
in
Yeah.
in 2 seconds with no brain work.
Hmm. So we come up, what it boils down is basic fundamental understanding of accounting, finance, and then the network. This is what it boils down to, the
Yeah,
future of work. Yeah.
yeah, those are the fundamental things. Yeah, right. Your network is your key, and developing that. Yeah, and we have tools like LinkedIn and things now, which are great to really develop our network and cultivate it, and community platforms and all kinds of things that can help us to develop and expand our network outside of our local region, which is really wonderful. And yeah, it's an exciting time to be alive, but it's also it can be vertiginous. It can be off-putting. We can feel dizzy by you know what did Kierkegaard say? Like, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. It's just like we're,
Mhm.
we're, we're, we're really free now, but oh my gosh, that means that we're personally responsible. We can't, it's very comfortable for lots, to people to have somebody, a directed life where you go to work, they tell you what to do, you do it, you come home, boom. To actually now I have to figure out what I want to do and how I'm going to do it. That can be a scary proposition. And so yeah.
I've had quite a few conversations with people on AI and specifically the future of work. And my opinion was and still is that there are all kinds of innovations and business transformation being born alongside with the change that AI provides. So it's not like we're left to drop onto nothing from a high place. There's always something to catch us on the way because there are plenty of genius entrepreneurs out there thinking of solutions as we go along. So you're one of them, I would
No,
say. Yeah.
absolutely. I, I,
Hmm.
I totally agree. There's always frictions and problems in our life that need to be solved. And those are the kind of things to identify those and figure out a solution. And then, yeah, you're absolutely right. With any change, there's all kinds of opportunities. And I think really right now, the world and the landscape is just exploding with opportunities and with all these tools to turn those opportunities into business models,
Yeah,
feasible
absolutely.
businesses.
I can testify to that. I speak to entrepreneurs daily because this is what I do in my capital advisory role. And I am just fascinated by the solutions that are out there in every area of in any sector, any area of life, basically. I mean, there are solutions for everything that you
Yeah.
can think about. And it's fantastic. It clearly people don't have the information about them because they're still nascent, but solutions are out there for everything.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a thing too. I forgot who said it, but the future is here. It's just not evenly distributed.
that's
Like you say,
correct.
the,
Yeah,
the solutions are out there, but you have to figure out how do they surface so I can recognize them and use them then. Yeah. And so
yeah, yeah.
that's one of the challenges.
Fantastic. Great talk, John. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks,
People
Serena.
can,
Loved it.
yeah, lovely conversation. I really enjoyed it. And it's absolutely up my alley, with growing and learning. And
Yeah, wonderful.
so, yeah, talks about the future of learning, of, you know, employment, of businesses. Very interesting. So,
And excellent work that you're doing. I mean, to deliver these kind of, interviews and all to your audience is just, that's a wonderful, wonderful work that you're doing. So thank you for doing it.
thank you too. So, everybody, the website of John Cousins is MBA dash
Eh,
asap.com.
Yep. MBA dash ASAP. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so
Fantastic. So
much.
they can
Really
join your
appreciate it.
courses at any time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the other thing. It's all asynchronous. Yeah, you can join anytime. You can take as long as you want to complete it. There's no like strict schedule, so you can do it on anybody's schedule. So that's another advantage of having a repository of videos.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you.
Oh, thanks, Serena.